What is going on, everybody? Boy Kyle Summers here, your licensed bro therapist, back with another video. In this video, I initially was going to do something about student loans. I had to recertify my student loans earlier today. I had a lot of emotions going on: anger, fear, sadness, and what I wanted to do was to punch a hole through my computer screen. And I was like, I can work on this and I can process this and I can make a video that could help someone else with student loan debt. But I don't think I'm emotionally ready to go down that rabbit hole yet. So this video is going to be all about emotional fusion as it relates to in a relationship. So you see this a lot in couples where their level of enmeshment is unhealthy and it's contributing to each individual's struggles. So what is emotional fusion and what do you do about it? Well, let's go to the whiteboard and let's take a gander at it. So emotional fusion. So what you have here is two typical couples. You have your average Joe Schmo here. Oh, let's get my pen going again. Average Joe Schmo here and average Jill Dill. I don't know if there's a female opposite to that. And just a typical couple. Emotional fusion works like this. Your happiness depends on the other's happiness, and a lot of times you'll see this in reverse too, where her happiness depends on his happiness. So what ends up happening is that they're looking for any kind of clue to indicate that one or the other, look it off my screen, one or the other is unhappy. And they become hypervigilant for these cues to where if one appears to be unhappy here, they will be trying to determine what they did wrong, what could they have done differently, and constantly doubting the strength of the relationship because the partner is upset about something. And they will more than likely always internalize it as something that they did wrong and something that they now have to fix. And it's a very unhealthy dynamic, and what's under a lot of this is you have fear, anxiety, worry, all synonyms of the same thing. There's a constant need for validation and reassurance that everything is okay. And like I said, the slightest hint that something is wrong, they will internalize that as something is wrong with the relationship, something that they did, and their emotional happiness will be then decreased because their partner is unhappy. So the way in which you deal with this is that you break away from this dichotomy and this dynamic where you are dependent on the other for your own individual happiness in a process that's called individualization. And I'm going to shorten it just because I don't feel like writing it all out. Individualization, where you work on yourself, and by doing so you are less emotionally dependent on the other, and that you can be okay if your partner isn't okay. And then by doing that, you can provide the kind of listening and the kind of empathy and compassion that your partner needs just to talk about what's going on with them without you being in your head here, Brad, and thinking that something that you did wrong and all of a sudden becoming defensive because they're upset. And then that's going to lead to an argument. So individualization, focusing on yourself. And that could take you down a number of different holes. Like I said, it could be an underlying fear of abandonment. It could be just a deep-rooted sense of insecurity and low self-esteem to where everything has to be a certain way for you to be happy. Just your external world has to kind of fit your script. And within a relationship, this dynamic will almost always lead to some kind of dysfunction, whether it's both partners that are practicing this emotional fusion or one. Either way, the happiness that you see a lot of times with couples like this is very surface level. They can put on a good show, they can go to outings, social events, things like that, and appear happy to anybody that's with them, but it's coming from a place of fear because they don't want to say what's really on their mind, because if they do so, they're going to upset the other person and therefore decrease their own happiness. So they'd rather just bite their tongue and not say anything about it. And that's going to lead to resentment, these unwritten contracts that we have with the other, that we start telling all the things that we've done and we expect something in return, whereas we never even communicated that. So work on the individual. If you work on the individual person, you, me, us, individually, you're going to be a better partner in your relationship. You're more than likely could become a better employee at your job. You could become a better parent. Focus on yourself. Break away from being dependent on someone else to ensure that you're happy. Don't do it. Yeah, I guess that's my spill about emotional fusion and what to do about it. As far as student loans, if you see a licensed therapist, or really anybody that has a advanced degree, they got a lot of student loan debt. Just give them a hug. Tell them it's going to be okay, because it will be. I mean, I wouldn't change the world because I freaking love what I do. I would probably take twice as much debt as I do now to do what I do, because I just love it that much. And so it was a means to an end, and there it is, guys. Anyways, you have yourself the greatest freaking day ever. Again, my name's Kyle Summers, your bro therapist, and I'll see you later. Peace.